Welcome to another edition of Dirty Data here on the fourth period. That's Aaron Ward and Shane Kelly. I'm Dave Pagnotta. And gentlemen, we might as well start talking about these Toronto Maple Leafs, a team, another year of high expectations. And so far, just a weird start for this group. Their big boys aren't getting it done, Wardo. What's going on?
Well, the key here is high expectations, and delivery is not there. I mean, if you look at the stats, bottom line, you can't find a highlight, something to get excited around. I mean, goals for, bottom third in the National Hockey League. Goals against, top third in the National Hockey League. Actually given up 21 goals against in the last 5 games. And power play percentage, bottom third. You just have to look at what you're looking at individually. I mean, the big guys. Marner, again, continuation of what happened through the playoffs. You don't want to pile on the guy. I mean, clearly everybody knows what's going on, but it's starting to really kind of get louder and louder with no goals for. Matthews 1 goal in the season. Riley, who signs his big contract, still sitting at 0 goals. This is a team that is disconnected, and you can see it not only in production, but in how they play the game. They're trying to push, they're trying to cheat a little bit, and you can see that they're doing things at the expense of defense. They're trying to get those goals, and on the road, especially against a team like Chicago, who's not faring well, clearly gets the jump on them because you can see that there's mistakes early on in the game where you got defensemen on an island and forwards out there just kind of floating, hoping for a prayer pass. So the Toronto Maple Leafs have to get back to an identity, finding an identity and playing to an identity, and that's having a disciplined system that's identifiable. Again, we keep using identity. Who are these Toronto Maple Leafs? I'm not quite sure.
Well, the numbers say they are a little bit better in some ways offensively than last season, if you believe it. I know that everyone's going to pile on that I'm spinning this positively. You know, if I was criticizing them, they'd probably say the opposite. But last year they were 11th, 12th in possession. This year they're 5th. Last year they were 8th in expected goals. This year, you know, depending on the model, they're top 5 for the most part. So offensively, they've been there, I think, and you know it's 8 games. So if this happened in the middle of the season, maybe you're not talking about it as much. But Wardo, I think you hit on it. The one area where the numbers say there is a problem is they're giving up a lot more in terms of quality scoring chances than they were last year. Last year they were 62% high danger scoring chances. This year they're 50. Still creating it a lot, but they can't hide the fact that on the back end things are sliding.
Yeah, well, the results are not there, clearly, right? Giving up top 10 in the National Hockey League in shots against and taking, they're top 5 in shots taken on net. They're just not going in and they're not staying out. And that's where you start to look around and say, you got to build off something. And there's nothing to grab onto right now for this team to say, okay, here it is. And they're lacking some of that, I don't know, the presence, right? So Marner's out to start the season and some guys get an opportunity to kind of fill that void. And I don't think you have that leadership. And where it's coming from is the older guys. I mean, you look at it right now, the biggest, most consistent performer for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now is Jason Spezza, the guy that struggled to get in the lineup at the start of the year when he first got here. And now he's like almost the guy you're looking to create it for this team and find some sort of offensive spark. I mean, Nylander, of course, is there. We see that. But it's coming from Spezza, who's slotted in the 4th line. You can't get a ton done on the 4th line.
No, like you guys said, I mean, not creating offensive opportunities, it doesn't mean that the goaltending has been poor. Jack Campbell has been pretty solid. Saturday night, they're going to go with Peter Mrazek against one of his former teams, the Detroit Red Wings. But just to reiterate that, Shane, goaltending, Jack Campbell, solid. It's just everything else on this team clearly is the issue.
Yeah, I don't even really think I get it. They're not scoring. But I'd ask you, like, what have they changed from last year offensively to say, okay, they won't get back to scoring? That's where I'd go with that. So I think offensively they're going to be fine. And on Jack Campbell, yeah, he hasn't been bad. You know, he's delivered 5 quality starts. He's about league average in goals saved above average. His goals against average isn't great, but we know, you know, they're giving up a ton of chances. Really, I don't think we'd be talking about Jack Campbell at all if the defense was just stopping the other team from creating so many high quality opportunities.
I'm in agreement. I mean, they took a flyer on Campbell. I mean, Anderson's now sitting in Carolina, tops in the National Hockey League. Honestly, that means nothing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They put all their chips in. They're gone with Campbell. They got Mrazek came in. Let's not kid ourselves. I don't think Mrazek was, in anybody's estimation, going to be a savior in net. He was there as an experienced guy to back up. So Campbell being a young guy, I mean, he's not a Carey Price of the playoffs last year. He's not a Fleury of the playoffs in previous years. he's simply a guy that they're hoping evolves and seizes this opportunity. But his team up front is not giving him that chance to get his feet kind of under him and feel confident about the way he's playing.
No contract talks, by the way, between the Leafs and Jack Campbell. He's a UFA at the end of the year. They got, as we alluded to earlier, Morgan Riley locked into an 8-year deal at a $7.5 million AAV. Shane, you're the numbers guy, so good contract. Where are we at with that one?
I think he probably took a bit of a haircut on the AAV to get to 8 years. If I'm sitting in Dubas's chair, you know, he's a smart guy. He knows he's probably going to give up a little bit on the back end of this deal in terms of value, but you hope that you recoup it by him being, you know, a $9-10 million player on the front end. The numbers don't say that he's all the way there, but the question you have to ask yourself is who else is available to give this money to? To my knowledge, I mean, Dave, you're the rumors guy. You know, who else could they go after in this price range?
Right. Well, I guess one of the top guys now hitting up that market for next season, if he's not signed, is Hampus Lindholm. So maybe this benefits him a little bit more going into the summer. But Wardo, from a defensive perspective, you mentioned Riley's only got 4 assists on the season, no goals. Is there any cause for concern there, or is this just a committee blue line issue?
I think it's a committee blue line issue. As I think everybody's not playing particularly well. You've got some young guys, and I mean Sandgren's back there trying to do his best as a young guy to try and create. And you saw some success in the Montreal game, but since then, I mean, he's doing his best with what is happening up front. And a lot of times, the development of a young guy goes with the success of a team, or what help he gets from both his partner and especially from the front end. And as we mentioned before, there's oftentimes a disconnect from forwards and defensemen. Defensemen like to keep the puck out, and when the puck's not going in, we know forwards they're gonna take care of the pretty part of the game, and that's trying to put the puck in the net. So doesn't bode well for the young guys to really get their confidence quickly in this situation. I think coaching really has to take their time to instill a level of confidence and I guess a level of patience in how this game is evolving for this whole group and the core group of defensemen.
Well, the Leafs got a much-needed win in Chicago in overtime the other night. They need to recoup another W against Detroit on Saturday. That's Shane Kelly and Aaron Ward. I'm David Pagnotta. Thanks for watching.